Welcome to episode number 45 of E2KGn30. Today is Thursday, May 31st, 2018. I'm your host, SwissGuard, and I am joined by my blurry but good friend, Agasicles Stamus. How are you doing?
Right? Am I not, not autofocusing?
There he is.
Yep.
All right. E2KGn30 is when we run down our favorite news stories from the week. And as we approach E3, the floodgates are opening. So this should be a fun yet jam-packed episode. So if you don't mind, you wanna just get right to it?
Yeah, I will. So first up on the rundown, in the I don't even remember what we call the segment of the show, but Sony's Day of Play return. Sony's Days of Play returned with a discounted games in a limited edition blue PlayStation 4. So I sourced this story over from window
US
panels
Gamer.
Panels are moving around in an unintended manner. So Sony's Day of Play summer event is coming back and is bringing discounted games and a limited edition PS4 with it. It's everything you need for staying indoors and out of the sun. Don't forget to draw your curtains and go vampire sound hiss at anyone who tries to open them. So Days of Play 2018 starts on June 8th and ends on June 18th. There will be big discounts on PlayStation 4 hardware, games, and accessories, including the exclusive PlayStation 4, which we're going to talk about later because I really don't understand why these exclusive PlayStations come out that are regular PlayStations. Like, I don't understand why any special edition for the remainder of this life cycle is not a PlayStation 4 Pro, but it is what it is. So from consoles, let's talk about games. And this is going to be the great conflict or balancing act as we talk about E3. Is it's always, what are the manufacturers saying versus what are the publishers saying? Last year, it was, in my opinion, it was much more fun to talk about the publishers with what went down at E3, minus Microsoft's Xbox Scorpio presentation. And in their most recent quarterly earnings call special that DBQ and I did, same thing. Publisher information was much more interesting than consoles. So, and this is from one of the big five, Ubisoft. Earlier today, and I sourced this over from bluesnews.com, their post Assassin's Creed Odyssey revealed. A tweet from Assassin's Creed goes, all of this is Sparta, and I apologize. You're probably going to hear some rustling. My Pell mic was actually down on the desk. So a tweet from Assassin's Creed goes, all this is Sparta, and revealing Assassin's Creed Odyssey will be the next installment in the Assassin's Creed series. The 5-second clip features a gravity-assisted exit, confirming the game's ancient Greece motif, and a captain saying a caption saying see you at E3. We can expect more on this soon enough. This came after French website Jeuxvideo outed the project with a photograph of a collectible helmet keychain with a logo for the game. This bit of swag followed a rumor from a couple of months ago that called out the game's setting. The best thing about this news is when we went into prediction mode after Ubisoft indicated in its earnings call that they had another game that would be out in FY19, I was the one who called that. My guess was that it was an Assassin's Creed installment.
I forgot about those bets. All right.
So now this game will be shrouded in mystery, but you want to talk a game that is actually shady.
Yes. So remember, E2KGn30 is not the most important stories of the week. It's the ones we enjoy talking about the most. So I got this from PC Gamer, and it is new Star Citizen ship pack unlocks nearly every vessel in the game for $27,000. Star Citizen backers looking to build their own fleet can now buy a new ship pack containing 117 craft, nearly every ship in the game, along with 163 extra items, including upgrades, skins, and in-game posters. It's a mere $27,000. Yep, you read that right. I'd tell you to click on the link for the Legatus pack. I don't know how they pronounce it. But you'll only be able to view the page if you've already spent $1,000 on the open world space sim. And we'll see if we get to this in the rundown because, It's always fun. I will add another source for this was Forbes, and I just added this because I like their headline. Alleged video game Star Citizen offering new 27,000 Legatus pack bundle. So, all right, moving on. Call this segment Remember the 80s. Got two stories for you. This one is also from Forbes. Atari sells over 5,000 Atari VCS systems in first 6 hours of pre-order promotion. Pre-orders for the Atari VCS, formerly known as the Atari Box, opened up a few hours ago, and it appears that there's a fair bit of public interest in the device. Yada Yada reviews the Atari VCS. Atari just sent out word that pre-orders broke the 5,000 mark in under 6 hours. The subject of the notice said, Atari VCS, over 5,000 backers in just 6 hours. Hurry. There are limited quantities of certain models that will be made available, like the Onyx Early Bird Edition, hence the dramatic call to action, despite the fact that pre-orders for the model are open until June 4, and there are thousands of slots left open, according to the stats listed in the campaign. And our other blast from the past story, this one is from Engadget. Intellivision plans a revival with the new game console. Add Intellivision to the list of vintage console brands hoping for another shot at glory. Intellivision Entertainment has revealed that it's in the early stages of creating a new video game system. Details are scarce, there isn't even a name, but the emphasis is on making a system that, quote, all age groups and levels of gamers and non-gamers, end quote, can enjoy. There's a familiar talent involved too, soundtrack impresario and video games live host Tommy Tallarico, hope I pronounced his name right as well, has been named the president of the fledgling company, while numerous original Intellivision designers and executives are taking on leadership roles. Mattel is about the only absentee at this stage, but that's not surprising. All right. Okay. I'm next on the agenda as well. Third set of stories. I want to be the very best, like no one ever was. We got 3 Pokemon stories, 1, 2, 3, from Eurogamer. Nintendo did a special Pokemon thingy the other day. So the first story, I guess this is kind of the most important in the near term. Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee confirmed for Nintendo Switch, featuring Pokemon Go style catching. First pair of they say core, it's kind of core, Pokemon RPGs for the Nintendo Switch will have finally be unveiled. As rumored, they're called Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Pokemon Let's Go Eevee. The games are set for the Nintendo Switch, and feature Pokemon such as Eevee and Pikachu riding outside their Pokeballs, just like we saw the first Pikachu do back in 1998's Pokemon Yellow. A Pokemon Go style catching system that involves the motion controls of a single Joy-Con, co-op functionality, connectivity with Pokemon Go, and more. A new peripheral, the Pokeball Plus, was announced and will be sold separately to the games. The next story, new non-core Pokemon RPG game, Pokemon Quest, announced. A new Pokemon game has been announced in addition to the core RPG we were expecting. That indeed turned out to be Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. Pokemon Quest is the name. It's, quote, free to start. Developed by core RPG studio Game Freak. It's available to download on Nintendo Switch right now and is coming to smartphones, Android, and iOS in June. Features new visuals such as Pokecells, which are cute, blocky animations of familiar Pokemon. The game can be controlled entirely from touchscreen or with regular controls and TV mode on the Switch. This game is, you kind of upgrade your Pokemon with little, I forget what they call them. I guess, I'm not sure if they're the Pokecells, but it's kind of a different style, and it's very Minecraft influenced, blocky characters. Finally, and this is the most important, I believe, of the Pokemon stories, additional untitled core RPG Pokemon game coming to Switch next year. An additional core RPG Pokemon game entirely separate from the just announced Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee games is also in development. Details are very thin on the ground. The game is currently untitled, but we know that it will be, quote, in the style of Pokemon X and Y and Sun and Moon, which we understand to mean traditional catching methods and without the emphasis on Pokemon Go style features and cross functionality. The games are slated for the second half of 2019, according to Game Freak. And I grabbed all three of those from Eurogamer. You have so we talked about PS Plus games. We'll end with Xbox.
Yeah, so the last item in the news blender tonight, and usually I add these things because they are of specific interest to me, so we don't always just necessarily, generally cover whatever the subscription service free games are in a given month. It's typically when something is of interest. I will admit that is not the case when I added this. I don't particularly find any of these games of interest, but I felt, at the time, the week started off a little thin on news and then kind of beat itself into a warm lather. So here we are. So anyway, the Xbox 360 or Xbox Live games with gold were announced earlier this week. You will be getting Assassin's Creed Chronicles Russia that one is the one that's available all month. You get the Smite Gold bundle. We'll talk about that a little bit later in the discussion segment. That is the one that goes available in the middle of the month. You get Sonic and All-Stars Racing Transformed. That is only available the first half of the month. And then Lego Indiana Jones 2, The Adventure Continues. I believe that is one of the two backwards compatible titles that is available in the second half of the month. So, if it weren't for the fact that Microsoft gave so much content away for free, I would be aggravated at the kind of confusing nature of the whole Xbox games with gold with stuff that's available all month or the first half of the month or the second half of the month. But as it is, it's all free, so I choose not to complain. And that's the end of the News Blender segment, Greg. Swiss.
Oh no, I've been doxxed. Okay, so discussion. Let's see what we got. Sony sales event, first one. I'm excited about this because God of War is only $49.99, and my Gamers Club Unlocked has not lapsed yet. So I was planning on picking this game up when payday hit, and now I will delay it because if I wait till June 8th, I can get an extra $10 off effectively. So yeah, I think some of the games they have listed, Gran Turismo Sport, I don't know if you'll be excited about that, but it's kind of a big name title. Horizon Zero Dawn for $20. That is the best $20 you can spend right now for a lot of entertainment. MLB The Show 19 is only, MLB The Show 18 is only $40. Shadow of the Colossus $20. So they got some good stuff. They got some VR stuff too, which I am less interested in. But DualShock 4 controllers are only $40. But as you alluded to in the rundown, like whatever we call it, the Blender rundown intro, the special edition blue Days of Play edition, why is it a regular PS4? Now I noticed that as well. Like I assumed it was just a PS4 Pro, and then nope, it's regular. They do have a PS4 Pro discounted for $350, but my thought is they have the components and they just want to make some cash off of them, so they slap them in a different plastic container and voila.
Yeah, and it may be a matter of those are the ones that they're more confident they will sell. And maybe they're a little less confident in their ability to estimate, how much of a production run to make of a PlayStation 4 Pro. The other thing is this one is not a bundle, right? So it's just the console, whereas the PlayStation 4 Pro special edition consoles, they tend to bundle with a game. So it may just be, the economics of the matter and what they feel more confident in being able to sell. So it's a little.
I mean, it's $300. So would you rather pay $50 and get the 4K capabilities, or would you save $50 and get a blue one? I mean, to me, like, I'm with you. I don't really see the point in doing that, but
Yeah, I mean, if it was me, and it was me when I did this last year, right? I mean, when I was interested in a PlayStation 4 Pro, I waited around for a special edition one because I was like, I'm gonna spend the money on a Pro. I want it to be something other than just the plain Jane jet black one. And I want it bundled with a game, and therefore I waited until the holiday season, and I got it, at a discounted price with the additional bells and whistles. So it's just a weird thing, but again, you're putting it out over the summer, so it's not holiday season. You're picking up people who, kids who are earning extra cash, right, when they are working over the summer and stuff. So maybe it's just that type of variant. MLB The Show is the only Major League Baseball game in town, so it gets discounted. Shadow of the Colossus, big remake that maybe everybody didn't grab the first time around. Good thing to put on sale. PSVR titles. This sale runs June 8th through the 18th.
Correct.
There are more things than this on sale on a weekly basis on the PlayStation Store. So I'm hoping this is just like what's going available at the beginning. And maybe some other additional things will go on sale as well. Very interesting that the PlayStation View service do you know if this is discounted?
I have no idea because I don't have any interest in it.
So it's $10. So for cord cutters and people who are looking to augment their streaming services, PlayStation View is actually one of the better packages in town. This deal is $10 per month off the core plan, standard price for the first 2 months. It is also one of the more expensive plans in town, but it does, if you're going to go that route, it does offer a lot of value.
I may have to explore that because we are cord cutters, And real quick aside for cord cutter peoples, if you have an antenna like I do, get an HD home run. You can plug the antenna into that. Get multiple not channels. You can have multiple streams going, but basically you can then network your stream from your feed from your antenna throughout your house, and I can get on my devices. So that's kind of cool. All right, next item, Pokemon. All right, I am confused because I was flat out expecting Pokemon, like the big Pokemon game thing, to be coming on with Nintendo Switches Online. Kind of got a little bit of a damper when they had the Smash Brothers information come out, and that was kind of slated for the fall. And then it's like, okay, I guess Smash Brothers is going to be their flagship for the new online service. Because obviously Splatoon 2 cannot be anymore. So I was expecting a mainline Pokemon title coming soon. And we're getting that, but it's not till late 2019. So we're like over a year and a half away from those. Instead, we get this kind of Go style game. So from what I understand, like, you don't battle to capture the Pokemon. You throw the Pokeballs or something. I never played Pokemon Go because I don't know. You see them in the game overworld. So it's kind of like a weird fusion of Pokemon Go, the handheld, and then the classic RPG, which is fine, I guess. But I was expecting a little more. And it's almost like they announced like 5 games, if you really think about it. 5 Pokemon games over the next 18 months. And then we got the Pokemon Quest, which is the free to start type game. We'll see. I mean, we know that mobile games make a lot of money, so we'll see how that works in the Nintendo Switch world, though, is going to be the intriguing thing, how it compares with Android and iOS. Did any of this surprise you, or like, is it just, how big into like the Pokemon zeitgeist are you? Did you play Pokemon Go?
No, I'm not. This is one of these things that weirdly, strangely came along in like the mid 90s, late 90s, maybe started even as far back as the very late '80s as I was kind of exiting the age range for this stuff, and I just never. It's very much my Mighty Morphin Power Rangers of the video game world for me. Meaning Power Rangers came along in TV, and I just never got why people liked it, and I've never latched on to Pokemon either. So
well,
no,
my brother and I had Pokemon Red and Pokemon Blue.
Okay.
And that's the last time I played Pokemon. Right. So, I think we were at the very top of the age range, and we had fun with it. But once the next game started coming down the pike, we didn't really pick it up. I just, from a strategic perspective, it feels like, I mean, they're getting something out there, but I was a little bummed because I was like, man, I was expecting some big deal Switch RPG thing. I guess the other interesting factoid that comes out of this didn't hear anything about the 3DS with regards to these announcements.
Well, that's where
we don't really know that yet.
Well, that's where I was going to go. I was like, but what does interest me about this stuff is, how important is Pokemon to the Nintendo Switch? And I don't know the answer to that question. It's on one hand, you could assume that it's important, but then on the other hand, you go, well, but maybe what's important is, Skyrim, Doom, the potential for Fallout to come to Switch, Monster Hunter, those kind of things. The larger the title scale, I question how much maybe the smaller titles are important. And yes, as you mentioned, what does surprise me is that I would think that Pokemon would be much more important to the Nintendo 3DS, which Nintendo has been telegraphing that it is their intention to support well into 2019. So I guess we'll see where that goes.
All right, games with gold.
Games with gold, not much to mention here. I'm a bit surprised from a business aspect that they wouldn't have something with a little more heat going into E3. Something that's kind of stoked the fires, as well as
Assassin's Creed Chronicles Russia.
Yeah, but Chronicles is like the 2D platforming.
Honestly, I didn't even know there was an Assassin's Creed Chronicles. That's how much. I'm not a huge Assassin's Creed guy, but I didn't know.
It's very much so. I believe they did another one of these on Xbox Live, maybe back in the holiday season. I want to say 4 to 6 months ago, where they released China. And I guess that's when I saw the headline. That's kind of what I latched onto when I dropped it into the agenda. It's a collector completion kind of thing. It's not really,
Well, you do though mention getting you geared up for E3, and there's a couple of ways that it can do that. One thing that came out this week, Walmart leaked a new Sonic racing game. So one of the games with gold is Sonic and All Stars Racing Transformed. So maybe that's some kind of link. And then Lego Indiana Jones 2. Would you be all surprised if we had some sort of Lego game announcement at E3?
No, and I think it could be fairly big, right? Given the recent backing off on the frequency. And I mean, I actually thought, Prime would know this much better than I would, but I thought we had seen the last of the Lego games coming to console. But at a minimum, they've definitely backed off of the degree of frequency of those releases. So yeah, there could certainly be something along those lines. And usually those games that are only available half of the month or the games that I think Microsoft really puts out there to be enticing for people to grab, which is why they're only available for half of the time. It might also be the backwards compatible ones are only available. I really haven't consciously tracked it, but just to flesh out the details, yeah, Creed Chronicles are the ones that are like the 2D platforming. They refer to it as a 2.5D action adventure. This story sourced on Video Games Blogger, by the way. I failed to mention that. Smite Gold is the free-to-play third-person multiplayer, MOBA made by the guys who did Tribes. And as Microsoft mentioned in their earnings call, these service-driven games are ones that contributed to their, I think, like 26% bump in revenue that they saw the last quarter. This game was not called out in the way that Fortnite was. Fortnite is apparently their big moneymaker, but I suspect that Smite is still big. It's a huge game with like 90-plus characters. This $100 bundle that you get for free, which is pretty impressive, gets you 20 additional characters above whatever you get in the baseline game, plus 50 bonus items. Then you get the cart-ish kind of racer in Sonic All-Stars, which admittedly I will actually grab as well because I love kart racing and racing in general. I'll probably steer away from the Lego game, but I can definitely see Prime picking that up. So we want to talk a little bit about all these retro consoles that are coming out.
Yeah, I was surprised that, well, I will say in our chat client this afternoon, you indicated you were confused why 5,000 people would pre-order the Atari VCS when we don't know much about it at all. I mean, what kind of games are coming out? We haven't. I don't even know if we've seen like an example of a game. Like, I mean, when they announced the Switch, we had a little bit of footage of like Skyrim, and they teased that, stuff like that. We haven't gotten anything.
As far as I know, and I didn't dive into all the videos that are posted on the Indiegogo site, but as far as text, there's nothing of any specificity called out. There's like a Tempest 4000 as far as a new game. Everything else, the only thing that I saw that was concrete were, that legacy Atari games, Atari 2600 games are coming. So, there were pictures of like Asteroid, but for all their graphical fidelity, they could have been pictures from like 1976, right? There was nothing new or indicative of the platform's capabilities from those pictures in the video references.
I mean, it offers support for 4K HDR, but it just seems so early to be slapping down cash. But
right on a promise that, as far as I could tell from the reading of it, is just very speculative. Like, I don't, right, from an engineering aspect, what was written on that site was basically a promise to deliver nothing, right, and nothing but a listing of hopes and speculation. Very little concrete expectation setting. So this thing, from my read on it, this thing could go poof, very easily. And it seems like from the technology that it's based on is technology that exists and is well known and understood. So I don't understand why it's not more concrete than that. It's like Booyah delivered the same level of capability that is described on the VCS site, and so I don't understand. Like, I felt the marketing and branding for Booyah was much more specific in terms of what we could expect from an app store, which is a term they don't use, right? But clearly that's what they intend to deliver by their description of it. But like, there's no discussion of an app store or the types of prices that you can expect, or there's some pros about like how you'll deliver and upload your game. But it's highly lacking, in my opinion.
Right. Which is, there are people out there. I mean, that was fast to get to 5,000. But nostalgia is a powerful thing. And speaking of nostalgia, in television, this came out, and it just feels like we had the NES Classic and the SNES Classic, and then Atari has their new thing, and
it's a little Me Too-ish.
Yeah. But the thing that got me was like, they have all these people. It says numerous original and television designers and executives are taking on leadership roles, and it's like, just because they were there back in 1982 or whenever, does that mean they're going to be effective now in today's market to do? I mean, maybe they're smart guys, but it's just, it just feels, I don't know. It just feels like you said, Me Too, and of course we have even less information on this one, so.
Right, I don't know why that would have been mentioned as a positive, right? Television didn't win that generation's console war. They were very much the Sega of that generation. It was a console that people kind of vastly didn't understand, right? It was complex. It had a numeric keypad. The games, in a lot of cases, the games seemed to be kind of Atari knockoffs. And just like the 2600, right? 99 different variants of the thing were, lots of manufacturers were licensed to build replicants of the thing. that ran the same games or knockoff games, and so it was part of the reason why the video game industry imploded on itself. In conjunction with the ET fiasco. So, however, that all being said, I owned a Magnavox Odyssey 2 during this generation, and the reason why I jumped at it a little when I saw this was Intellivision was always a console that I wanted to own from a capability standpoint and a look and feel and its level of complexity and the types of games that it had. It was always the thing that I wanted, but of course, I mean, we could barely afford the one console, right? So much less multiple consoles at that point in time. So I'm eyeballing it just because it might be a very cool way for me to finally like reach back in time and get this console that I always wanted.
I don't know. We'll see. Thanks, we're pretty much out of time. So Assassin's Creed Odyssey, looks like we have Greek, but all we got was a logo and a dude kicking another dude off a mountain. So we'll have to wait for E3 for that. And then the Star Citizen, I don't know, man.
Like I just
Who's
don't
buying $27,000.
I just don't get it. Like when lawmakers are going after loot boxes, like I'm a little flabbergasted. I can't believe that no representative or state senator has like come off the top rope and tried to nail down Star Citizen and get them in front of the Department of Justice, right? Like I mean, senators and representatives are flipping out over loot boxes, right? Over loot crates, and nobody's gone after these guys. Like I guess the biggest thing for me is, Chris Taylor is an iconic video game developer. He is, I don't know if it's a very long ago, PC Gamer wrote this first article that was called The Game Gods. And then I think they did a second round of it, and it's a thing that's referenced in gaming history. And I want to say Chris Taylor was one of the Game Gods. Maybe he wasn't. I think he was. I think of him as one of the original Game Gods, along with like Sid Meier, Warren Spector.
Who did Ultima?
Richard Garriott.
Yeah.
Even John Romero at the time, right? Carmack. Like I lump him in with those guys, and I'm like, I don't identify with him as being the type of person who would just mug and extort money from people for the promise of a video game that he has yet to deliver. Like I don't understand. I joke, but I'm like, has somebody murdered Chris Taylor? Like this company is still being run by like the Mafia or something.
It feels like almost like I can imagine having two different wings to this company. There's the people that are trying to make like this epic game, and okay, they maybe drank the Kool-Aid and we're gonna build something revolutionary, go way beyond No Man's Sky and actually deliver on some of their promises. And then there's the other side that's like, I mean, if we can sell it, let's sell it. And I just don't understand the mentality of, if I throw money at this development studio that's making me part of the community, it's just a very sad way of trying to join a community like that. I mean, I get contributing in a Kickstarter campaign, yeah, I trust you. I'll try to help you fund this game and I'll expect the game, but I'm not going to pay more than a game's worth of money. It's just, even then I'm taking a big risk because I can get nothing. So, or I can get a turd for it. You know what I mean? Like it could come back and be a horrible game, but $27,000 and they only offer it to people that have spent $1,000. So, I mean, they're going after the whales, I guess. But there must be people that spent $1,000. I mean, we know they're happening. All right. I knew we'd go over tonight, but we actually didn't go over as far as I thought we would go.
All right, man. So anything else we need to cover?
Nope. We got some... Oh, it's not next week. It's the week after next. We got some big E3 stuff coming. But I think next week we have a regular schedule of discussion and news show. But after that, we'll have 3 shows, Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday, covering various E3 conferences.
Yeah, so so just to specify, so actually next week we have one show, so we actually have dropped our normally scheduled second, so there'll be no news show next week. We will do our regular discussion show, which will feature, as far as we know right now, all 4 of the co-hosts of Enough to Keep Going will be on for a big E3 preview show. There'll be no show on Thursday. We will be resting up because when next Saturday hits, this almost becomes a full-time job for the next week and a half. So definitely attend our E3 coverage the week of 10, 11 June. We'll be on the 10th, 12th, and 14th. But next week, it'll just be the one show. So join in for the preview show. And then follow us along for all the coverage once things really get started.
All right. Good night, everyone. Thank you.